This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network. It's a Monday coming off a great weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. What a sports weekend it was. Everything is in play. We've got college football. We've got NFL football. We've got NASCAR playoffs. We've got baseball heating up. What a game last night between the Mets and Yankees, by the way. Hated to lose it as a Yankee fan, but it sure was entertaining. So we had that kind of a weekend with everything going on. I was up at East Carolina to watch the Gamecocks and the Pirates play a really good football game. Very tense, very tight, kind of matchup we expected between two teams that maybe are about the same level. That's how you judge teams when they play one another. The Gamecocks managed to pick it up in the second half, stick to their guns. That's the thing that impressed me. They didn't panic, even when down 2 touchdowns. They didn't take the game plan and throw it in the Neuse River that runs through there. Didn't throw it away. Stayed with what they intended to do, which was to run the football, which we thought going in would be their best form of attack. Turned out to be the case. What a job Juju McDowell did down the stretch for them, and they get the field goal to win. Meantime, up at Clemson, Smitty was up there to watch the Tigers and SC State, and pretty much what you expected, though catching up on Smitty's reporting and reading stories coming out of there and looking at some of it myself, seems like there's some people still not happy with the way the Tigers are playing offensively. Still some questions there as they open ACC play this weekend. And, of course, Chris was with Coastal Carolina on Friday. Chanticleers got another big win at home against Kansas, and they continue to play great offense. Right now, their offense, after 2 games, total offense, ranked 13th in the country, about 525 yards per game. So we've got it all covered for you here on Sports Talk. I don't think anybody else in the state gives you in-person coverage of the Gamecocks, Tigers, and Chanticleers like we do here on Sports Talk. We want to hear from you as well. 888-898-2525. 888-898-2525. Your thoughts on Gamecocks, Tigers, Chants, anybody else around the state? And just coming to my mind, PC won again. Of course, Benedict, they're 2-0. Allen won its game over the weekend. North Greenville beat Newberry to go to 2-0. Furman is 2-0. A nice win for them on the road against Tennessee Tech. Charleston Southern opened its season with an impressive win at the Citadel. Those are just some of the results from across the state over the weekend that we can talk about tonight. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. I'll talk about the Gamecocks and the Pirates here as we move along. But Smitty, let me get your take on Clemson, the Tigers' overall performance. I know it's somewhat hard to judge because of the competition, though this South Carolina State team, I think, is better than some of the recent ones that Buddy Pugh has taken into Death Valley. Still, people are, I think, questioning some things about the offensive performance, the quarterback play, and what's going on at running back. Where is Lynn J. Dixon in all of this, and where they're going to go now with that moving forward into league play starting this weekend?
Yeah, I think all of that is fair, Phil. And, of course, you just mentioned the level of competition. It's an FCS opponent. And all due respect to Buddy Pugh, who I think we all have immense respect for. And South Carolina State does have some players. You told me to watch Corey Fields Jr. I thought he flashed a little bit at quarterback. Also, Will Vereen at the wide receiver position. Everybody remember that name. He's going to make noise in the MEAC. But level of competition, I think, is so difficult for us to gauge at this point in the season. They play, maybe the best defense in the country in Georgia in a neutral site, and they come back home and try to get their feet under them. So I want to put all of this in context, especially what I'm about to say. First, let me get out of the way how good the defense has been. At this point, it looks like Brent Venables is practicing in the dark arts. Nobody can score on this Clemson team. No one has gotten in the end zone through 2 games. That's so impressive. Dabo Swinney said that James Skalski looks like Brent Venables out there in a helmet and shoulder pads. In other words, he's the defensive coordinator and he's on the field. It is unfair, and I agree with that. He diagnosed everything South Carolina State was going to do. I think he could roll out of bed and play linebacker at a high level. All right, now, quickly. Now, to what people are talking about, what you're hinting at, Phil. It was not just me and a little line in my story about how, the passing game was less than spectacular for Clemson. This got into most of the stories. I went into a huddle with some other writers and said, hey, this is what I wrote. What did you guys see? And then we saw it a little bit on social media as well. Some criticism that that Clemson was playing an FCS opponent, a MEAC team, and didn't really blow it up down the field. And if you look at the level of athleticism on the outside, names like Joseph Ngata and Justin Ross and Frank Ladson Jr., and then you've got weaponry like Will Shipley and DJ Uyunglele triggering it all. Why did this team not put up really big numbers and really stress South Carolina State vertically in the pass game? And Phil, I'm going to credit you. You said something to me off the air that I think bears repeating, and I think it's something we need to talk about as Clemson moves into the conference schedule, which is this team may not be hitting on all cylinders because it may be that Justin Ross, probably an NFL receiver, may be miscast in the slot. I think you're going to see Clemson try some other things in terms of personnel, if not this week, then down the road, because right now they line up. They've got 3 receivers that are all tall and lanky and can make plays on the ball. But when DJ Uyunglele drops back, there's not a lot of separation out there. Those players look covered. And, you may say, well, what about Braden Galloway? Well, I would ask the same question. And Braden Galloway, through 2 games, has 13 yards receiving. So that's not really humming at this stage either. And what's the answer at running back? We had Zach Willis last week tell us it should be Lynn J. Dixon. And Dabo Swinney's quote about Lynn J. Dixon getting more carries was he needs to grow up. So right now, Clemson's played 2 games. They're 1-1. There's no reason. So I hope no one thinks that I'm panicking or anything. They're going to be favored by double digits in every game the rest of this season. They are going to go somewhere in the neighborhood of 11-1 heading into the ACC championship, at worst 10-2. But this team doesn't look like I think we thought it might coming out of the chute, and that's just something for us to keep an eye on, discuss, and watch as they move on against Georgia Tech.
All right, Chris, you watched Coastal. They're humming on all cylinders. They beat an improving Kansas team. I like their new coach, and I think he's going to do some good things there. But Coastal Carolina took care of its business with an outstanding offensive display, with maybe the best quarterback in the state, the way that Uyunglele has had his struggles early on. And South Carolina's still got a little revolving door going on at quarterback while they wait for Luke Doty to get healthy. I mean, there's no quarterback in the state at that level of the 3 playing at the level of Grayson McCall right now.
He's certainly the most efficient, Phil. There's no doubt about that. And Coastal did exactly what I anticipated they would. Kansas is much better than they have been the past 2 seasons in which the Chanticleers had beaten them, but they're still not at the level that Coastal is in terms of talent. Coastal's wide receivers are better than the defensive backs that they faced on Friday, and they were able to get some separation. Isaiah Likely may be the best tight end. Certainly, I think he's the best tight end in the state. He may be the best tight end in the country, and he has just really, really turned into an extremely good weapon for them. And you talked about Grayson McCall. He's about as close to perfect through 2 ball games as you could possibly be. Missed 3 passes, I think it was, on Friday. Missed about 3 or 4 against the Citadel on Thursday before they pulled him out of the ball game because they didn't need him anymore. And the Coastal offense rolling up 500, 600, 450. I mean, they can do whatever they need to. And here's the key stat for them is that defense. The way Coastal has played defensively the past 2 ball games will be the way that I think they play the rest of the year because they've got such veteran leaders on that defense. They return virtually everybody on that side of the football. And Smitty talked about being a favorite the rest of the season for Clemson, and I agree with him. I think Coastal may be a favorite with one lone exception. that road trip to Appalachian State, middle of October, may turn out to be one of the best games in the country that weekend, because that is going to determine, I think, the East Division standings and the East Division championship of the Sun Belt. But so far, so good for Coastal. Now they get to actually play a Saturday game. How do they respond going on the road, playing a Saturday game this weekend up at Buffalo? I think they'll be fine. It's just weird how their schedule has worked out. They play a Thursday game, get 8 days to get ready for Kansas. On Friday, they play a Friday game, get 8 days again to get ready for Buffalo this coming Saturday. So their schedule will start to lock in and be somewhat normal in terms of what everybody else normally does. But Jamie Chadwell, I think, has gotten to a point he's got to nitpick his team. He wasn't overly pleased with the execution of his squad on Friday. I didn't see anything that really was a concern. He's looking at it from a coach's perspective. He was a little concerned about the penalties that they have had. This was the least penalized team in the country last year, not quite at that level thus far this season. They have yet to convert a turnover, which is a bit unusual for a team that was a plus 13 in the turnover margin last year. But aside from all of that, and again, that's nitpicking. Coastal is where they expected to be at 2-0 right now, heading to Buffalo on Saturday.
All right, our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Did you know that since 2002, more than $572 million in lottery proceeds have been used to pay for and refurbish school buses around the state of South Carolina? You can learn more by visiting sceducationlottery.com. Remember, playing for fun is a win for education. We're back in a moment. Take your calls.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Player practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit MainCourseSC.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
Okay, we're going to get to your phone calls in just a moment. I want to take a second here to welcome a new member to the Sports Talk family. We're very excited to welcome aboard WROO FM 104.9 in Greenville, Anderson, Clemson, giving us some great coverage. Today, they transformed from rock and roll to Fox Sports Upstate. Brian Hall and the folks at iHeartRadio making that move, and appreciate Brian Hall working with us to get Sports Talk back up there in the Greenville market, where we were on another one of their stations for a long, long time until they made a change a couple of summers ago. Now we are back and better than ever Good to be heard up in Greenville,
Nice.
Anderson, Clemson, all up there. And, with our affiliate in Spartanburg, Woodruff, WROQ 101.7 FM, that gives us great coverage all across the upstate from Clemson, really going all the way to Gaffney with those two stations. So glad to have you folks with us. If you haven't heard us in a while, this is Phil Kornblut. He's Chris Bergen, and that's Matt
Indeed.
Smith. And Pat Daniel makes it all happen here in our studios in downtown Columbia. And you know
Hey,
what?
Phil, was
Nothing.
a quick question about the transition. Was their last classic rock song "This Is the End" by the Doors?
And that's a good question. You'd have to have been up at 11:59 midnight tonight.
I think
last night.
Or they could have laid out "Video Killed the Radio Star."
Indeed.
I just want to say, if you haven't listened to us since we were last up there, nothing's changed. We still do everything the same way. We're like an old shoe. It just feels comfortable, and that's what we do here on Sports Talk, and we will continue to do it. We're covering South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal Carolina, home and away, the 3 FBS teams in the state. Nobody else does that in one organization, and we bring you everything from those schools and the other schools in the state as well. Nobody else does that, and we'll continue to do that. So we're happy to have you folks up there, again, all across the upstate, and they'll also be carrying the high school football scoreboard show, too, on Friday nights. So you're going to love that as well, I'm sure. All right, let's get to your phone calls. Love to see the calls lining up on this Monday night, 888-898-2525. We go to Billy in Somerville. First up tonight, first of the week, batting lead off. Billy, how are you? Hello, Billy. Welcome into Sports Talk. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
Hello?
you, man. We got you.
Okay. First of all, I want to wish Bobby Hartman a happy birthday. It's his birthday today, and I've listened to him for a long time.
Yeah, today he's 39. I think he turned 39 today.
He just for the 40th year in a row.
Something like that.
Something like what we said. But I figured I wish him a happy birthday. I know he didn't want a lot of people to know about, but I've known him for a long time. So I wish him a happy birthday over the airwaves.
That's good. That's good.
What are your expectations, honestly, with the Georgia game with Carolina coming up? Do you think Carolina can keep it close, or do you think it's going to be one of those long nights and we're just going to get blown out?
Yeah. The line opened at 32. I think it's regressed a little bit to 30.5. You know what? I'm jumping all over that money. I'm jumping all over that line.
You are?
Yeah. I'll take the 30.5. I should have taken the 32 because I think South Carolina defensively, they really impressed me the other day. And they took a pretty good quarterback and kept him pretty much in wraps. And except for the trick play to open the game where they caught him sleeping, they didn't do much at all offensively after that, East Carolina. Now, the Gamecocks have a lot to work out offensively. And you know how good Georgia's defense is. I mean,
yeah.
If South Carolina is going to have any chance in this game, their special teams are going to have to be special. The defense is going to have to be rock solid. And they need Luke Doty to be healthy because I tell you, I think Zev Nolan has done a nice job. And he helped rally them Saturday, and he threw really 3 nice touchdown passes. One was dropped going in for a score, and then another one was ruled out of bounds that could have been called inbounds, and then he threw the touchdown pass that was caught and called a touchdown.
Right.
So, and then they had the pick 6 and a couple of field goals. So, but my concern there is, guys, he's just not mobile. And being a stationary target against that defense could be, that could be dangerous to your health, the way that defense will collapse around him.
They can't start out like they did against East Carolina at the end of the game. They can't do that in the first quarter.
Well, I mean, they've got to play. But I don't think they're going to get – I think their defense and their special teams are very, very good. I tell you, that special teams coach has done a heck of a job with those guys. I mean, they are a threat now to block punts. And you know what's happened? Simply because they blocked 2 punts in that game against Eastern Illinois, that puts the fear in every special team coordinator they're going to be facing. And the talk of Beamer ball and doing things that Frank Beamer did at Virginia Tech, that's in everybody's mind now. And that works to South Carolina's favor, I would say.
And I got 2 more quick things. One, Coastal Carolina, if they were to do like they did last season, would there be any possibility that they could possibly get into like a New Year's Day Bowl this year?
Chris?
Got to get some help from probably Cincinnati and some of the other G5 teams that will be ranked ahead of them. But if they run the table, they're sitting right now at 19th. Where are they, Phil, in the latest sixth? How far have they climbed up?
They moved up one spot. They moved up one spot in each poll.
In the AP, they're sitting at 16th. And you look up ahead of them, Cincinnati's at 8. So that's going to be the biggest issue. Can they get ahead of Cincinnati? Cincinnati's going to probably have to lose a game so they can be the highest ranked non-Power 5 team to get into a New Year's Day Bowl. If they run the table, and that's going to be dependent, I think, on the Appalachian State in the middle of October on the road in Boone. But if they get through that and win the Sun Belt and they get some help, absolutely, they've got a shot to get in.
Chris, I'd say, yeah, and I agree with you, but watch out now for BYU because they'll have that Utah victory, which looks about as good as anything you can put on your resume.
One last thing, Michigan. You think this could be the year Michigan finally gets Ohio State?
I think Ohio State's going to continue to get better as those young players get better. I mean, look, they lost to a really good team in Oregon. That's you lose at home, sure, but it could have gone either way. Oregon's really, really good out west. They're probably going to win.
Do you think could Oregon be one of those, like, sneaking backdoor, be in the playoffs? I mean, I know they're good, but I didn't know they were that good.
I think if they're treated fairly, there won't be a sneak-in backdoor. They'll deserve it. You go and win in Columbus, Ohio, that says something. As long as they don't stub their toe along the way, I don't know their schedule. Don't have it right out in front of me, but if they take care of their business out west, they should do it. You saw where Southern Cal fired their coach today, so that's a program that's turned into a dumpster fire once again, guys. 2 games into the season didn't they just give this guy a contract extension in the offseason?
It's ridiculous. Have some patience. I can't imagine you lost to Stanford. Yeah, that's the game that Southern Cal probably should win. But to fire your coach 2 games into the season in the Pac-12, where you're in a mix with Oregon and you've got a shot ultimately on down the road, I would still think, to play your way back into the Pac-12 championship. It's insane. You cannot judge a coach on 2 games, especially sitting at 1-1.
Yeah. Now, Oregon, let's see now. Oregon, let's see here. Where is the schedule? Why don't you give me the regular schedule? Well, this isn't helping me. I was going to look for Oregon's schedule. Looks like it's, is it Stony Brook coming up this week? Then Arizona. And then
if they run the
Stanford.
table and win the Pac-12, they're in.
I would think so. I mean, I'm just looking at who they're playing. They play UCLA. That'll be big, October 23rd. Colorado showed some mettle this past weekend. Good performance in a last-second loss to Texas A&M. Of course, Texas A&M lost their starting quarterback. He's going to be out 6 weeks or more. There was a lot of injuries around the league. None worse. Well, not this league. The ACC. Boy, NC State lost their starting linebacker, their best player, Peyton Wilson. He's out for the season. They lost a starting safety, Fagans, who transferred from Florida State. He's out for the season. The tough blow for State. And they go and lose to Mississippi State to boot. By the way, let me mention the Clemson-NC State game in Raleigh. That'll be 3:30 on ABC or ESPN. The South Carolina-Kentucky game the same day will be a 7 o'clock kick on ESPN2. Let's go to Tiger Bryan. Tiger Bryan, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How y'all doing?
So far, so good.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Cohen. I will never predict a score again against on my Tigers.
Never.
Nope, I'm never. But you know what? Y'all was talking about the offense and all of us. I think they was actually trying to get some continuity on the offensive line because that's what's been killing us. A defense playing lights out. And I'm gonna throw a couple scenarios out, and then I'm gonna hang up and let y'all do y'all's thing because y'all do a great job at it. But all right, Will Taylor, yeah, they better put him in every damn game because punt return. I know that was South Carolina State. He's a bowler, and our defense is lights out. Georgia. Hey, South Carolina, hey, you holler and bet the house on the points. Come call me on my cell phone. Hey, I'll take that bet with you because Georgia's going to beat them by 40.
So that number is 800-555-1515?
Yeah, it says Tiger Bryan,
Says
Hey,
Tiger right.
I miss y'all. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate what y'all do, my friend.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Good hearing from you. All right, we'll hit a break here at the bottom of the hour. We'll continue with your phone calls for a long time. So give us a call, 888-898-2525. Zach Willis coming up in the next hour, Mick Mixon 2. And we're back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear this evening with a low temp dropping to 64. Tomorrow, more of what we've had today, except we'll notice the humidity picking up. Sunshine with a high reaching 91. Our next good chance of some rain comes on Thursday. The rest of the week, we'll have high temps in the middle to upper 80s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. An international group of scientists is arguing the average person doesn't need a COVID-19 booster yet, an opinion that highlights the intense scientific divide over the question. Two of those scientists are top U.S. vaccine regulators, raising questions about whether White House plans for booster doses are getting ahead of the government's own experts. The group analyzed a long list of worldwide studies and concluded the shots still work despite the extra contagious Delta variant. Their opinion was published Monday in The Lancet. On Wall Street, the Dow by 261 points, the Nasdaq dropped 9, the S&P 500 up by 10, oil up 73 cents to close at $70.45 a barrel on the New York Mercantile Exchange. This is SRN News.
Fran Halloran here. What am I looking for when I make a recommendation to you? I'm looking for integrity, ethics, intentionality. When it comes to your mortgage needs, Greg McCoy from Simplified Mortgage Solutions needs to be your only call. There are plenty of national mortgage companies with fancy names and fancy schemes out there. Don't be fooled. Simplified Mortgage Solutions will meet or beat any national lender's proposal. Greg is local, and I love local. Born and raised in the Midlands of South Carolina, Greg will treat you as if you are his only client as you go through the mortgage process. Simplified Mortgage Solutions specializes in conventional, VA, USDA, and FHA mortgages. They can do it all. I trust them, and so can you. I've worked with Greg for a while now, and everyone I've referred to him has thanked me after the fact. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com or just call Simplified Mortgage Solutions at 803-722-6044. That's 803-722-6044 and tell them the Money Coach sent you.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by Tree Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often, to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street downtown.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Football is back. And this year, the Citadel is trying to be top dog.
Get in here! I got one thing to say. This is when the big dogs come out. Stay in run. So if you can't run with the big dogs, stay on the ball.
Touchdown, Bulldogs! Fire those cannons. The Bulldogs are back.
The Citadel Bulldogs, all season long on 100.7 The Point.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk on this Monday night. I want to remind you, I know you're coming off a weekend and you're like, man, I can't wait till next weekend. I got to go somewhere. I got to do something. I got to get away from it all. Head east, young man and woman. Head east and give Jimmy Smith a call at James Smith Realty. Let him take care of your next vacation at Pauley's or Litchfield or any place else along the beach. Write down this number and call it. You will not be disappointed. 843-237-4246. 843-237-4246. The perfect beach getaway is right there waiting for you in the hands of Jimmy Smith and his folks. You don't have to rent. You want to buy, you want to purchase a house, you want to purchase some dirt, you want to build, he can get you started. He can get you rolling on that as well. The website is pauleysvacationrentals.com, and the number is 843-237-4246. We welcome in our audience from the Anderson, Clemson, Greenville markets tonight. Good to have you with us here on Sports Talk. Can't wait to be up there tomorrow for Dabo Sweeney's press conference and listening to their new upstate sports station, Fox Sports. A lot of people like Fox Sports Radio. A lot of people like the hosts on Fox Sports Radio, and that was missing from that market, and so they have brought that back. We wish them well. I'm sure they're going to do extremely well, and we're glad to be a part of them, and hopefully they'll be glad to have us as a part of them as well. With all that said, back to your phone calls as we go next to Andy here in Columbia. Andy, welcome into Sports Talk. I hope you're doing well, loving life, and enjoying a beautiful afternoon in the Palmetto State.
Good evening, Pat. Good evening, Smitty. Good evening, Chris. Good evening to you there, Whistles Cornblue.
Why do you have to slow us down? You know, we come at you with a lot of energy. Can you pick up the pace just a little bit?
I'm going to pick the pace up on you in a second here, Mr. Whistles. First off, Happy New Year to you there, Mr. Cornblue.
Well, thank you and everybody else.
Okay. First off, 2 South Carolina pitchers starting for your Yankees this weekend.
Yes, indeed. Clark Schmidt last night, and Jordan Montgomery, of course, has been starting. I thought Schmidt made a nice accounting for himself last night, considering the circumstances were not ideal.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good, but you know, corn. You come into the king part of New York baseball, and you just get spanked. And then my Mets early in the year went into the lowly Bronx and smacked around your Yankees for 2 games also. So that means that we have spanked y'all 4 out of 6 games this year.
You did.
And actually, the one that we lost on Saturday night, we should have won. So, you know, we just abused and used you this year. Thank you very much for being the outstanding Yankee supporter you are.
I support. We won today, came from 5-0 down to win in 10. We're not dead. But you're right. Look, we've had trouble against the Mets. We've had trouble against the Rays. We've had trouble against the Red Sox. We've had trouble against the god-awful Orioles. So, I mean, it's just been that kind of year for the Yankees. Up and down, up and down. Maybe we're going to finish on a high note.
What'd you say? Something was whistling in the background.
Hey, you know what?
I'll tell you what,
I give you 2 thumbs down on that comment.
I'll tell you what, though. Lindor showed why Uncle Steve went out and paid him $300+ million last night.
Good player. I tell you, I just loved that it was a baseball game in September that had a lot of passion to it, a lot of anger, a lot of heat. The fans had a great time, of course. It was a mixed crowd, a lot of Yankee fans in there, and they were having fun. It was just a fun game to watch, if you ask me.
Yeah, the whole series, there seemed to be a lot of Yankee fans in in the stands in last night's game.
Well,
If you're a
because
baseball fan,
the Yankee
and if
fans
Mr.
have
Smitty can,
the Yankee
I don't
fans
know
have
if he watched it.
the
What's
Yankee
that?
fans
Yankee?
the Yankee fans have money and they have jobs, so they can afford to go.
Well, it's just too bad you don't have an owner that doesn't have to worry about what his fan base's money content is, because he's got more money to buy anything that he wants. But maybe Mr. Smitty can comment on this baseball game last night, because if you watched it, like you said, Corn, it was one of the better games to watch, and it was fun. There was all kinds of things going on. There was really nothing that they were playing against each other for, other than to smack each other around. And it had everything in it. I mean, this whole weekend was a great weekend of baseball in New York.
I agree. Smitty, did you catch any of it, or were you just watching the Dodgers only?
Oh yeah, I just watched Max Scherzer, and then I replayed it and watched it again last night while I slept.
I do want to give Major League Baseball a little credit, though, guys, to have the Mets and Yankees play on the 20th. I hate to use the term anniversary, but commemoration of the September 11th terrorist attacks. I thought it was a really, really smart move on Major League Baseball's part.
Yeah.
To have those two teams who were obviously affected the most of any Major League team by those terrorist attacks. I thought it was really, really cool that they got an opportunity to play one another over the weekend.
Agreed. Good planning on their
One
part.
last thing, if I might. Thank you, three gentlemen, for covering the three major schools for us. Like you say, no one else does it like you gentlemen at Sports Talk. Y'all have a great evening.
We thank you for that. And we didn't even have to pay for that comment. I like that. We don't pay for callers and we don't pay for interviews like some places. People want to call this show and people want to be interviewed on this show. They do it out of the goodness of their hearts and on their own volition. Thank you, Andy. Glad you picked up the pace there. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. We want to continue with your calls, and we are headed to we don't know. Yeah, we're not able to identify callers in advance, so we're having a little bit of a phone issue that the engineers here are working on. So we're just going to have to fly blindly into the next call. So, hello, caller or callerette. Welcome into Sports Talk. Good to have you with us.
Enjoying the show tonight, Phil.
I was wondering when you're going to climb out of your hole and be seen and heard. Where have you been, sir, Bulldog Bird? Where have you been?
How about them dogs?
I got to give them credit. I got to tip the old cap. I got to nod the head. They look pretty stout. But they are about to run into the Shane train. They're about to see the beam of light. And
okay,
let me just say something here. I did an exclusive interview with Shane Beamer. Come on, Pat, take my cue. I did the, hang on one second. I did the exclusive interview trying to set this up as we're on the air, and Pat's not reading my code. Are you with me now? Yes, you do. It's in the. Anyway, go ahead. I'll get to this in a minute. Go ahead, Bert.
Okay. Well, I got a question and then I got a comment I want to make before you hang up on me. Do you think it will make a difference that Stetson Bennett is going to be the quarterback this coming week?
I mean, I think it's a chance. We don't know yet. Both coaches are playing possum here when it comes to the quarterback situation. I doubt we'll know anything on South Carolina until game time, like this past time. I mean, look, South Carolina went into East Carolina with the idea on the table that Luke Doty was 100% able to play, and he could start, or we could see him in the ball game. Then it turns out that his foot is still sore. They didn't want to put him out there less than 100% with no soreness. Beamer said afterwards that it would he could play a few plays and then the foot would get sore again. So they didn't want to do that. So they rode Nolan the entire time. They hope that he'll be 100% this week. He's expecting him to be 100% and cleared. So you don't know who you're going to see. And the same thing with Daniels. In that situation there with Georgia. Of course, I'm trying to remember last year who quarterbacked Georgia when they came to Columbia. Was that Daniels or was that Bennett last year? Do you remember?
Well, I'll have to go back and look. We were talking about that in the office today.
I mean, I can look it up.
Somebody said it was Bennett, but I
It
think
was. It was not Daniels. I know that. If Bennett started all of them, because Daniels didn't start until the last 4 weeks.
Right. He was hurt. He was hurt.
Well, he might get a hurting this week too, Bulldog Burt, because I tell you why, I got this exclusive interview. I want to save this for you.
You tell him
This is Pat's not. He's not feeling well tonight. This is my exclusive interview with Shane Beamer, conducted prior to this show for you, Burt. We're saving it just for you. So I said to Coach Beamer exclusively here on Sports Talk, what is your plan going into Athens this Saturday night?
You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Get ready. Beam of light, Shane Train. Bert?
I never heard him.
Oh, you didn't hear it? Well, everybody else did.
You probably could hear it on the radio, but I couldn't hear it. What did he say?
He said, basically, he's bringing hell with him to Athens. Hell's coming with him. This was a movie clip. It's a movie clip, Bert. It's a movie clip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's from Tombstone. You know the great movie Tombstone?
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Well, listen. One more thing before you hang up on me.
Not exactly our smoothest moment. Yes.
You talking about exclusive interviews. I got an exclusive interview on my show in Saluda, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on Saluda Now on Facebook with J-Bo Shaw. He is the brother of Connor Shaw, and him and Gunnar Stockton are coming Friday night, 7:30 at Saluda High School to play the Saluda Tigers.
Y'all are playing Rabun County?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
and
my.
I would love for you to be there, but we'll have to talk about that.
JT Daniels last year, he did play against the Gamecocks. 10 of 16, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. But they didn't really need him because they ran for 332 yards on the Gamecocks last year.
Sounds like the game plan's already planned out.
Probably so. But this defense is better. This defense is salty.
Yeah.
Be ready. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
I know they probably won't cover the spread, but I'm looking for the dog to pull it out.
I'm sure you are, Bert. Good hearing from you. Call us next week if you've got some. You're going for the Palmetto State sweep. Good luck with that.
Yes.
Thank you, Bert. Bulldog Bert with us here on Sports Talk. All right, we'll continue
Actually,
with
Phil,
your
that
phone
should
calls
be the
after
game
the break.
plan. That should be the game plan for the Gamecocks if that offensive line could block. I was really surprised at how poorly they played against East Carolina. If they have any shots to beat Georgia, they've got to find a way to run the football. And judging by what we've seen thus far through 2 ball games, that offensive line for Carolina has got to improve greatly to be able to handle that front four from the Bulldogs this weekend.
No question. No question. They had a lot of trouble for about 40 minutes of that game the other day, and then they got better. I thought they got better. They ran the ball basically on a 2-to-1 ratio to passing in the second half. Something like 22 running plays to 11 passing plays. And, that last drive was all on the ground, pretty much with Juju McDowell. So they kind of bowed their necks and said, we're coming at you. Be back in a moment.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. People often ask me, when should I start saving for college? And I always tell them, start today. September is College Savings Month, a great time to start saving for your child's education. Future Scholar makes it easy to open and manage your account online, and the plan offers options and benefits you won't find with a regular savings or investment account. So make this the month you go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
In Irmo, call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
We are back on Sports Talk here on Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number is 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number. We continue with your phone calls on this Monday night. Enjoying hearing from everybody. Ken in Columbia. You welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Doing outstanding, Phil. I want to throw something out about the offensive coordinator position up at Clemson. I know Dabo had to address it today at the press conference, kind of like the defending Tony Elliott. A lot of fans are saying go back to Michelin. Apparently, he called a wrong play off the play sheet the other game, and Dabo did say he's been doing it since 2016, doing a great job, outstanding job. Could he do a better job? Yes, because the coaches around here are always being evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the chances that things go south with Jeff Scott? They're bringing him back as the OC, kind of like to make him a coach in waiting for Dabo at Clemson.
Ooh, that would go so much against the grain for Dabo Swinney with one of the people that he's brought up in his administration, in his program. I mean, he's fired people before, but usually, I guess maybe Billy Napier is the best example of one that was sort of kind of developed under his watch that he ended up firing. Others he kind of inherited. Kevin Steele. Did he inherit Kevin Steele? Yeah. Didn't he inherit Kevin Steele? Did he hire Kevin Steele? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that Reggie Herring was there before. Then they got, I think, Bowden brought in Steele, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. So my point is that would really, I couldn't see that happening. I don't think Dabo is of a mindset that the offense is in that bad a shape. They got to play better in some areas. Offensive line's got to certainly improve. They got to figure out what's going to be the answer at running game. I got the feeling, Smitty, that Lynn J. Dixon, even though he got the start, he didn't get much work. And it's a case where he's just not doing the things off the field in preparation, maybe not working as hard in practice as they expect him to work. Things like that, that's keeping him on the sideline.
Yeah, and Dabo Swinney said specifically that Lynn J. Dixon is in C.J. Spiller's doghouse.
Dude.
So he put it right there that, C.J. Spiller, who spends the most time with Lynn J. among the coaches, that he's right there, in his face, and they're working day to day, and he's not happy with, as you said, something going on. And Dabo Swinney again said Lynn J. Dixon needs to grow up, and he's an important cog. He's a veteran presence there for Clemson. So, he's supposed to be the one that settles the team from the running back position. As you said, he got the start, which he didn't in week one, got the start, rattled off a 16-yard run to start the game. And you thought, well, maybe he's going to be off to the races. But no, they pulled him out after just one more carry. He ended up with just 4 carries in the ball game. Was also battling a hamstring issue. But Phil, you're right. That's something we're absolutely going to have to keep an eye on because Clemson needs to settle their team down. Somebody's got to step up. What's the missing ingredient? You thought it might be Dixon. You thought it might be Galloway. Is it Justin Ross? Is it Will Taylor coming in and getting some snaps? Something's got to be there to ignite this talented offense.
Anything else,
Well,
Kim?
I think, this would be yes, sir. That's just to kind of be the first type of somewhat adversity Coach Sweeney's faced, in recent years, because people are quick to point out, they lost against LSU, and the next year they regressed to losing in the semi against Ohio State, and they said this year with the changing over at quarterback, maybe this would be a step back year for Clemson, and to see how Coach Sweeney is going to handle this, not actually being in the top, and how the Clemson fans are going to react to it. I think getting rid of Tony Elliott, I think he's been, even though they were like co-offense coordinators, I think he was still primarily the play caller, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. He was the primary play caller. No, I take that back. I think Tony Elliott's been calling plays this whole time, even when he was working with Jeff Scott. I think Elliott has been the play caller.
I meant Coach Elliott. Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah, so he's been doing a great job before, but a lot of time, like Coach Bowden would always say, it's not the X and O, but the Jimmys and the Joes, and Clemson fans, you calm down. They got a great program up there. I'm a fan of them, and both schools, as a matter of fact. But to talk about getting rid of the guy, sending them back to Michelin and all that kind of stuff, it's, I guess, what have you done for me lately? I guess.
Well, and thank you very much again. People got to stop reading Twitter. I mean, the more I read Twitter, the more I have to look at Twitter. Believe me. If I could avoid Twitter, I would. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to this country, and it just gets worse and worse. For example, so Florida State loses in an upset to Jacksonville State, okay? And at the end of the game, while Jacksonville State was still celebrating, a member of the Florida State football team who used to be at South Carolina, Brady Scott, proposed to his girlfriend on the field, one of these football players taking the knee and pulling out the ring, okay, catching her by surprise. Now, obviously, this had to be something that was pre-planned, and there had to be family in the stands, both his and hers. So regardless of how the game turned out, he was going to do this. And, of course, he was figuring this would be a good time to do it because they should beat Jacksonville State. It didn't happen. But people took to Twitter and just ripped him, made fun of him because they lost the game and there was celebration going on in the background.
Though, Phil. I don't mean to jump on you, and I understand this is a huge moment for that young man. But if you had just lost, first time ever in Florida State history to an FCS program, how did you think that was going to play out?
Well, I know
you can't possibly stand there and propose to your girlfriend.
Why not?
As a member of the team after you lost.
Chris, you got your family there. They came in for that purpose. You got people there for the purpose of sharing the moment. I understand what you're saying, but sometimes you just got to move forward. And he had no choice but to go ahead and do it with the family there. No, the whole idea was to do it. We've seen it all the time with players at football, in football stadiums after games all over the country who like to do that. We've seen it many, many times.
But I bet you if you go back and look at all of those, whomever the football player was, his team won the game.
Well, you have no guarantee when you make those plans.
I understand.
That's what I'm saying. He made the plan. But why should he be ridiculed on Twitter at one of the biggest moments of his life?
I agree
why
with
should
that.
he be
wholeheartedly
made fun of and ridiculed on Twitter? I just think that's classless. And you know what?
Social media is the worst.
Unfortunately, you got some media types or people who use the word media as part of their identification, but they're no more media than my dog. But there's some of the ones that were piling on too, just to get their jollies and their clicks. I mean, it's a cesspool.
And by the way, speaking of that, have you heard the Florida State side of the coin with Gene Deckerhoff, who is outstanding, and I love their play-by-play voice, and whomever handles the color, and you can hear him throw his headsets down after they lose the game. It's hysterical.
Really? We'll pull that up. Let's see if we can find that, Pat. We'll pull that up in the next hour. All right. Thank you for the call. 888-898-2. I can't believe you'd be so callous, Chris. You didn't strike me as the callous type.
Read the room. Read the room. You can't go out and propose to your girlfriend.
Planned.
Yes, but
you've already got
grandma
and grandpa and her family there. And he's like, okay, look, come to this game. I'm going to get y'all tickets. I'm going to propose to little Julie over here in the end zone, and y'all can all watch and see. So, they don't. They could care less. The family could care less about the outcome of the game. We're talking about love, man. Love
I
conquers
understand.
everything.
I'm a big fan of love, but read the room and maybe go yell at your defense for not stopping them on the last play of the game.
Well, that's true. But no, you can't break those plans. That's one thing you cannot go back on once you made the plans for dropping to the knee. Once you plan to take the knee, it's over with. There's no backing out. And I'm not talking about a knee for victory. I'm talking about a knee for life. Be right back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Apple released an emergency software patch to fix a security vulnerability.
Researchers at the University of Toronto Citizens Lab say the flaw could allow hackers to directly infect iPhones and other Apple devices without any user action, and allowed spyware from the world's most infamous hacker-for-hire firm, NSO Group, to directly infect the iPhones of a Saudi activist. The lab says this was the first time a so-called zero-click exploit had been caught and analyzed. Security experts say average iPhone, iPad, and Mac users generally don't need to worry. These kind of attacks tend to be highly targeted. In a blog post, Apple said it's issuing a security update for iPhones and iPads because a maliciously crafted PDF file could lead to them being hacked. I'm Ed Donahue.
Tropical storm Nicholas gained strength Monday and is bearing down on the Gulf Coast. National Weather Service meteorologist Dan Riley says the coming storm will bring localized flooding and half a foot of rain.
We're looking at some heavy downpours today, but the main event, the bulk of the heavy rain is going to be coming in late tonight and tomorrow as Tropical Storm Nicholas moves its way up the coast.
The storm is approaching the spot where Hurricane Harvey hit in 2017. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says authorities placed rescue teams and resources in the Houston area and along the coast. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom of California faces a recall tomorrow. 46 candidates, including talk show host Larry Elder, qualified for the ballot to replace Newsom if voters decide he should go. The contest has unfolded as the state saw a surge in coronavirus infections from the highly contagious Delta variant and the return of masks and other restrictions in many places. On Wall Street, the Dow by 261 points. The Nasdaq dropped 9. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If credit card debt has you down, nonprofit Trinity Debt Management can help. Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, put a stop to late fees, and drastically reduce your interest. You'll pay thousands less than you originally owed. It's not a loan. It's a way to become debt-free and possibly improve your credit score. So call Trinity and talk to a certified counselor. They'll explain their proven program to you with no pressure, just practical solutions and hope for tomorrow. Are you ready to pay off your credit cards in less time for less money? Then call for a free no-obligation debt analysis and become debt-free for keeps. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Gather up your bills and call this toll-free number for a free no-obligation debt analysis. Call 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976. 1-800-990-6976.
Israel struck several Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip in response to renewed rocket attacks by the militant group, marking the third successive day of violence between the two sides.
The Israeli ministry reported that Hamas launched 3 rockets into Israel Sunday and early Monday, but at least 2 of them were intercepted by the country's rocket defense. As a result, the Israeli military said that it fired rockets at a series of Hamas targets. No fatalities were reported on either side. The exchange of rockets came just before Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett traveled to Cairo for Egyptian-mediated truce talks between Israel and Hamas following 11 days of deadly violence in May. The Israeli Security Cabinet approved plans for a ceasefire with Hamas in May, putting an end to the missile strikes and rocket fire that left more than 200 people killed. Bernie Bennett reporting.
George Wine, the Newport Jazz Festival co-founder who created a template for other influential music festivals, has died at the age of 95. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear this evening with a low temp dropping to 64. Tomorrow, more of what we've had today, except we'll notice the humidity picking up. Sunshine with a high reaching 91. Our next good chance of some rain comes on Thursday. The rest of the week we'll have high temps in the middle to upper 80s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Please press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, there's spitballing names out there for the Southern Cal job. We're seeing Luke Fickell from Cincinnati, Bob Stoops from the retirement home, Chris Peterson from the retirement home as potential replacements for Clay Helton. I mean, let's face it, that's a primo job out there, and it will attract a ton of big-time names. And, you know, these guys probably won't be in the mix. Fickell might be because he's doing such a great job at Cincinnati, and he's actively coaching. Stoops and Peterson might be, you know, You see what Urban looked like yesterday on the sideline? Do I want to go back to that? By the way, Trevor Lawrence, after a crummy start, ended up with 300-plus yards throwing the football, which was one of the best performances by a rookie in his first game in NFL history. If I can find the note here from the NFL that I tweeted out. I got several notes to get to. We'll try to get to here along with recruiting and around the horn. If I can find that note very quickly about
the 3 interceptions, probably more than he threw his entire senior year. Or
well, it's the first
season,
time.
rather, at Clemson.
It's the first regular season loss in his life in football. Trevor Lawrence passed for 332 yards, third most passing yards by a number 1 overall pick in his first career start in the Super Bowl era. Cam Newton, 422, and Vinny Testaverde, 369. Coastal Carolina home game against UMass, September 25th. That'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff on the Plus, ESPN Plus. Byron Young is cleared to play for Tennessee this weekend, according to Josh Heupel, big defensive lineman. Linebacker Keontra Smith going to be out in action for about a month. MCL, PCL strains. This is at Miami, so they lose a player. And a lot of injuries. Texas A&M quarterback Haynes King going to miss the Arkansas game. Zach Calzada struggled throwing the football. They didn't throw for very much at all, but they managed to beat Colorado. Kirby Smart said today, not optimistic that Darnell Washington and Tyke Smith will play against South Carolina. They are out of their walking boots, but still got some concern there. Virginia Tech coach Justin Fuente announced tight end James Mitchell. He's out for the season. Knee surgery coming up for him. And just good that we don't have, any local names to throw on that major injury list after this past weekend. You guys mentioned the Gene Deckerhoff call. Florida State play-by-play announcer, the end of that game against Jacksonville State. We got that for you. Let her rip.
Get a first down right now. They still got a chance, I guess, to call the timeout to try to get their kicking team out there.
6 seconds. Here's the snap. Throwing the deep bomb down the far sideline. Caught ball at the 10-yard line to the 5-yard line.
Are you serious?
Jacksonville State with no time left.
I just said keep everything in front of you.
The Gamecocks have taken the lead and will win this ball game 20-17. And the Gamecocks are going crazy. How about that?
I don't know who his color analyst is, former player. I can't remember his name. That was the guy that took a headset off and just threw it down. He's disgusted. He was disgusted.
Is such a pro, though. He's such a pro and did that perfectly and gave Jacksonville State props for winning that game. But yeah, the color analyst, when you can obviously tell him throwing his headset to the floor.
William Floyd, former fullback.
Perfect.
William
so perfect.
Floyd. One more injury note. Phil Jerkovich up at Boston College, injured right wrist, had a medical evaluation. I think they're going to announce more on that Tuesday. So got an issue there with Boston College. Back to your phone calls, 888-898-2525. We'll squeeze in as many as we can. Zach Willis, 1st and 10 coming up. And it's Monday night with Mick, the voice of the Panthers. Hey, the Panthers. Does it count when you beat the Jets? Does that actually count as an NFL win?
Speaking of solid rookie quarterback debuts, I thought Zach Wilson, especially in the second half, played very well for the Jets. The Panthers defense just beat him up in the first half, but I thought he handled it pretty well for his debut for the Jets, especially in that market. As Phil, as you well know, he's not going to get any quarter here. He's got to go out and play virtually perfect every week, but I thought he did a good job. Panthers defense just better. The concern, though, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, is your kicking game. I mean, even Joseph Charlton, former Gamecock, you expect him to punt the ball well, and he struggled yesterday, and their place kicking not very good. I'd be curious to get Mick's take on that a little later.
I just don't know if you count a win over the Jets as a win in the NFL.
Look better, though, than your boys did last night. Can we get Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to try and grow a mullet, at least play like he's got a mullet? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And figure out which team is your teammates. Or is he already halfway out the door in Green Bay?
Every time he's been in love, he's played crappy. It's been a bad season. Go back.
Well,
Olivia Munn, Danica, now this babe. I mean, come on.
He wanted to be the host of Jeopardy, so here's the question for Aaron. What is the worst offense in football?
For 100. For 100 million. All right, we continue with your phone calls as we go to Bruce in Columbia. Bruce, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, Phil. How you doing today? I appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you.
I got Gray Collegiate to talk about and Clemson University to talk about.
Okay.
Gray Collegiate is a 5A team this weekend, and you can this is what I'm getting at. You can take any team and put them on the field. I don't care what division they're in. You're going to have a ball game, and whoever comes out ahead wins the game. It don't matter if it's AA, AAA, single A against 5 or 4, whatever. That's high school football. Now, I congratulate Gray Collegiate to winning the game, but they got another opponent coming down the line on them, and that's Abbeville High School, and they're better than a 5A team. So, just a Gray Collegiate, you better get your feet up back on the ground. You're not in heaven yet, so get ready. And also Clemson. Clemson's not worried about any games. They'll iron out the little problems y'all are tweaking around on it and everything. They'll get it together. Offense is usually the last thing to get together. That defense, you ain't gonna score on them. I mean, this by accident, the offense might give up a play like they did at Georgia, but I'm telling you what, they're solid. That defense is solid.
It's real.
Anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
And I'm glad Gamecocks won a game this season. I'm serious. I hope they do well in every game, and I hope they beat Georgia because we didn't, But I just hope they beat Georgia. But I'm all for Beamer. I think he's got a good attitude, and I hope the Carolina fans get behind the man and pump him up more. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you very much. Hey, I think Shane Beamer, I'll go back and double check this. I think Shane Beamer has a better record at this stage of his career than Dabo Swinney did. Didn't Dabo go 1-1 his first 2 games?
He did. Well, I believe he lost his opener to Georgia Tech, and Willie Corn got injured in that game, if my memory serves.
I think you're right. Check that for me, Pat. By the way, Pat lets us know that he did hire Kevin Steele. Dabo did, and then he fired him 3 years later. But, I mean, that wasn't somebody who came up. Tony Elliott is like a son to Dabo Swinney. I just couldn't see him doing anything to Tony Elliott.
And let me slide in here. For Tiger fans who are upset at Tony Elliott, you need to back off the ledge a little bit. That guy's an amazing coach and would be a terrific head coach, in my opinion. He checks all the boxes. And quite frankly, it's not necessarily the offense. Nobody's moving the football all that much against Georgia, I don't think, this season. So it's not just Clemson. I think everybody's going to struggle against that. Let's look back on Tony Elliott's season when we get down the road into November and see where that offense is.
Well, let's face it. I mean, Uiagalelei is a very solid quarterback, but I think after what we've seen, I mean, when he set the world on fire against Notre Dame up there last year, people were like, okay, Clemson's set with their next generational guy. Maybe that's not the case right now. Maybe he's not and he's only a young guy. He's only played in 4 games. And, maybe he's not Trevor Lawrence ilk or Deshaun Watson ilk. Eventually you run out of that ilk. So, but maybe he's a very good player and in time will be developed and be that great quarterback for you. In the meantime, they still have the receivers. I think Smitty made a great point about the lack, about Justin Ross playing in the slot and not having that. Well, Spector being out. I imagine Spector would have been playing the slot had he not been hurt or have the COVID situation that he's had that's kept him out to this point. I think it's going to keep him out pretty much all season. So they missed that little guy, that fast guy who can kind of hide and weave his way underneath the defense and sit down in there and make that critical third down catch. Because like you said, Smitty, all their guys are giraffes out there at wide receiver. You can't hide them, but you can throw the ball up high and let them go catch it. And I think eventually that's what they're going to settle on.
I'd agree with that. Those guys are long striders. And look, there's a lot to be said for that, especially when they're striding down the sideline and you can throw 50-50 balls. But right now, DJ needs to see separation. He needs to see guys open as opposed to throwing them open because of what you mentioned. This is only his 4th game playing. So I think it would help him if they could integrate something else. I don't know what that's going to be. Maybe it's running him more. I was thinking just as you were talking, Phil, about a lot of the players like DJ in the past that have his frame and his athleticism. Think back to Cam Newton's Heisman Trophy winning season. What did they do? They ran Cam a lot. And what that did is that brought the safeties down, brought the linebackers down. And then it was like play action every time he took a snap. He was throwing to open receivers because they were out there always in one-on-one coverage. So we'll wait and see on this. I'm certainly not in the camp of criticizing Tony Elliott. I really don't know what that's about. I think that might be a bit of a hangover from losing last season to Ohio State and LSU the year before. I don't know what the criticism is about Tony Elliott. This offense isn't humming yet, but this is, as our last caller just pointed out, just 2 weeks into the season, and they played a top 5 defense in week 1. So I think we should all have some patience. We're just talking it through as we move along.
All right.
Well, Smitty, if you're going to criticize Clemson for losing to Ohio State and LSU, it's not on Tony Elliott's. The defense couldn't stop those guys.
Agreed.
Either one
Agreed.
of them. That's not the Clemson didn't lose those ball games because their offense played poorly. They ran into generational offenses. Joe Burrow now is starter in the NFL. Justin Fields, a starter in the NFL. I mean, you don't see those type quarterbacks in college football that often, and Clemson just had the misfortune of running into 2 guys like that the past couple of years.
All right, let's hit another phone call before the break. We go to Alex in Merle's Inlet. Hello, Alex. Welcome to Sports Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to quickly talk about the quarterback situation at USC. Before that, I did hear a quick setting. Listen, I'm here in it's called the middle of Market Commons, on Old Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, called Bark Park. And listen, I'm a food and beverage. I think there's too many people moving down here, but hey, the more the merrier. Beautiful place, dogs can run around. That's great. Yeah, it's called the Bark Park. That's great. So come on, I'm the food and beverage. I have a day off. Well, actually, I work today, but got off. But anyway, so I have a night off tonight. So I'll talk to you quickly about the Gamecock quarter situation. But before then, you did say bring up about Southern Cal football. And quickly about Southern Cal football, the best stories I heard is when it's always interesting to hear USC, not the USC, which when Pat Hayden fired Lane Kiffin on the tarmac at LAX.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Love when Lane Kiffin got fired. And the other story, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Mick Mixon. I remember listening to him when he was in Columbia with Bob Fulton, and I listened to this past Sunday. I had a Sunday. The Panthers yesterday. He's a great broadcaster. He went to USC Chapel Hill. He's smart. He's fun. And I decided this the whole next year. I heard he was going to retire. Listen, I'm not going to work no more Sundays. I am going to listen to Mick Mixon on Sundays. I mean, he's just a great, funny. Yeah, I love the guy. So anyway, I'm going to jump to the next thing about the Gamecock quarterback situation. What I understand is that there's this other quarterback who transferred in from like someplace up north, and he and another receiver, and he's supposed to be like a really good guy. He's like 6'4", tall guy. He hit receivers and all that. People say, man, he's like pro-type material, but then all of a sudden you don't hear about him anymore. So I just don't understand what happens to these other quarterbacks. Like even with like Ron Helinski, who was in high school, was like a 4-star and all this, and they fall off, but they're still good in high school. So I don't understand why all of a sudden these guys just all of a sudden just drop off the chart and not hear anything anymore. So
Yeah.
I'll listen to your answer off the
All right, thank you. Listen, I'm not. First of all, he's a young guy. He came in a little bit heavy, a little bit out of shape. Talking about Jason Brown, and he played at a low-level FCS program up in the Northeast, and he did well. He threw the ball well, threw for a lot of yards, but I mean that's a long, long way from the SEC. Everything is different. The windows are tighter. It's so much faster. You have to make correct decisions so much quicker, and it's just a case where he's not ready. He's just not ready. And it's also about trust. Coaches are going to trust one guy, two guys to run the offense. Who protects the football? Who gets you in the right settings? Who gets the blocking, the pass blocking setting right? All that kind of stuff goes into it. Not just who's completing passes or who is reading the option and making the right pitch. I mean, that's important too, but there's other things that are key to being a starting quarterback. And until you win the trust of the coaches that you're the guy to do that, they're not going to put you out there in a critical game situation. So apparently, obviously, Doty, having played last year, showed what he could do. And then Nolan, having worked as a GA for several weeks, knows the offense inside and out. And he also has some talent. I think we've seen that too. And so that's the two they're rolling with right now, assuming that Doty gets ready and can help them and can play against Georgia this coming Saturday. Got to hit a break, and we'll be back here on Sports Talk.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
All South Carolinians are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccines. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, hunting season is upon us. How do we stay safe in a field?
There are 3 rules that every hunter should follow when they're hunting with a firearm. Number 1, treat every firearm due to respect a loaded gun. If you treat your firearm as if it's loaded, you'll always, number 2, keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction. And number 3, when you decide to pull the trigger, make sure of your target, identify it, and know what's beyond it in case you miss.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
Rolling on a Monday night, Sports Talk Media Network. Glad to have you with us wherever you were dialed in around the state. We've cleared the lines. You want to join us? 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Once again, we welcome in to Sports Talk our new listeners, our new old listeners from the Greenville, Anderson, Clemson markets. Our new affiliate up there, 104.9 FM, WROO, which is now Fox Sports Upstate. And so happy to have them as part of our Sports Talk family each and every night, and also covering our high school scoreboard show. They'll be with us this Friday night for the high school scoreboard show. So you've been looking up in the upstate for scores from all across the state. We give you scores from the coast to the mountaintops on Friday night here on the high school football scoreboard. You'll hear that this coming Friday night. So, Chris, you had a thought on the fumble that you think maybe wasn't a fumble by Josh Vann in that East Carolina game in the first half?
I did. I want to get to that. Actually, the rule itself more so than whether or not it was fumble in a second. But Ian Guerin out of MioriNews.com has just tweeted out that St. James High School down in Murrells Inlet has had to cancel its game on Friday against Sumter. And the Gamecocks are evidently searching for a replacement game. This is the third different quarantine for the St. James varsity football team since the first week of August. So I know our listeners in the upstate have kind of cruised along and enjoyed the high school football season, but down here going towards the coast, it has been anything but smooth over the last couple of months or so. Anyway, back to the Josh Vann situation. I want to get both of your guys' takes on this. Why is an offensive fumble through the end zone not recovered by the defense when it goes out of the back of the end zone? Automatically goes back to the defense after a touchback, whereas if you fumble out of bounds anywhere else on the field and the defense does not recover it, it stays with the offense.
I think because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that is to prevent a player from intentionally fumbling forward into the end zone and trying to recover it for a touchdown. That's what I think it is. I think it's to prevent you from intentionally fumbling forward.
I mean, if that's the case, though, Phil, if I'm not mistaken, if you fumble from the 2-yard line and someone other than yourself recovers it off your team in the end zone, the ball comes back out to where the fumble occurred.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, why should the defense get rewarded for something they did not do? They didn't recover the fumble. Josh Vann made a mistake, and quite frankly, if you look at it closely enough, I think he got into the end zone, but that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a stupid rule because the offense gets penalized greater than any other place on the field. Why not, if you want to do a touchback, bring it back out to the 20, but why should the offense lose possession of the football?
Yeah. I mean, that's my only thought on it, is to prevent the intentional fumble. And I hear what you're saying. You can't recover your own fumble into the end zone, but I don't know. I can't think of any other reason. Smitty, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I think you're right, Phil. That's where, this stems from. It's kind of the genesis of all this. But my compromise for that particular rule would be this, Chris. I always believed I was okay that the defense got the football. I just didn't think they should get it at the 20. The offense should be rewarded for penetrating the red zone. So I thought the defense should get the ball back to the point of the fumble. So in this case, it would have been placed, just outside the goal line. But then East Carolina would have been backed up. Why? Because that's how far South Carolina advanced it legally before losing possession. That was the way I always felt about it.
Got to say this about Josh Vann, too. Josh Vann he's become the man. He's become the guy that the quarterbacks, obviously Nolan, has become most comfortable with throwing the football. And he had 7 targets on Saturday. He caught 5 for 116 yards, 23 yards after catch, had a long of 45. He's really having a heck of a year, and they've got to carry on Joyner. The one thing they didn't do much Saturday was throw it to the tight end. Bell was targeted 4 times, had 1 catch. Muse was targeted once, had 1 catch. So they kind of don't know if they just weren't figuring into the game plan. Maybe they were keeping the tight ends in to help block, but they can't forget about their tight ends moving forward. Let's squeeze another call in quickly before the break. We go to Georgia for unknown caller from Georgia. Hello, welcome into Sports Talk.
How you doing? How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. If you're a Carolina fan, first off, plus 32, I'd take that all day long. In that series, I'd probably take it. But do you legitimately want to start Luke Doty against that defense? I don't think you do.
Well,
you want to put him out there and risk him getting hurt again? You see what they did to DJ against a better offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to put him out there against Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean?
Yeah. I think if he's healthy and the doctors have given him the go-ahead and, he can't he can re-injure it, but, I mean, just by playing, he can't do anything more to it if he's 100%. I think you got to run him out there, guys, because I think you're going to need a mobile quarterback against that defensive front. One of the things that hurt Clemson and Uyangalele is that he's not mobile, and he couldn't run away from the pressure. Doty can do that. Nolan cannot do that. So their best bet might be Doty in this case. Thanks for the call. Back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Clear this evening with a low temp dropping to 64. Tomorrow, more of what we've had today, except we'll notice the humidity picking up. Sunshine with a high reaching 91. Our next good chance of some rain comes on Thursday. The rest of the week, we'll have high temps in the middle to upper 80s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hello, fondue fans. It's Jay from the Melting Pot. Well, you don't have to be a fondue fan to be a fan of the Melting Pot, but it sure helps. By the way, who eats melted cheese when it's 106 degrees outside anyway? And thank you for eating melted cheese and warm chocolate, by the way. The reality is special occasions don't end when it's summertime. Birthdays, anniversaries, end of summer, back to school celebrations, you name it. We celebrate it with you. So come and see us at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard, the Melting Pot.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Biden is providing last-minute help to California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom in that recall election that could remove the first-term Democrat from office. Tuesday is the last day to vote. Mr. Biden will appear with Newsom on Monday evening in the Southern California city of Long Beach. That event will come as Republican frontrunner and talk radio host Larry Elder holds his own election eve rally to the south in Orange County. Elder is one of 46 replacement candidates. If Newsom is removed, whoever gets the most votes among the 46 will become the governor of the nation's most populous state. On Wall Street, the Dow by 261 points, the Nasdaq dropped 9, the S&P 500 up by 10, crude oil up 75 cents to $70.45 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The year is 1971, and Sudeth Automotive is providing affordable and reliable auto repair to Columbia. Fast forward 50 years and not much has changed. Time and time again, customer after customer, Sudeth Automotive has proven to be one of the best repair shops in Columbia. With our well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials, we just keep getting better with time. Call us, come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue, or make an appointment at SudethAuto.com.
Now, who could that be? It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money. Well, how much does it cost? Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient. I don't know. Sounds too good to be true. No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com. Where? DominionEnergySC.com. Certain restrictions apply.
You ever notice there's a lot of foundation repair companies in the Midlands? Well, I asked my guys at TerraTech about this. Seems like 80% of the homes end up with foundation issues in the Midlands. It's just the soil around here. So how do you pick the right foundation company if you think you're having an issue? I always start by thinking local. I mean, think local always. Your home is your biggest financial investment. You want someone who's been here a while and isn't going anywhere for a while, and that's TerraTech. They're family-owned, they're AAA approved by the Better Business Bureau, and they are 100% local. They use the highest quality products and they stand behind their work. And I'm not into scare tactics, no way. But goodness, this is your home. I mean, it's your castle. Walk around it, take a look. If you see cracks in the foundation, just call TerraTech. They'll come out for free. No cost, no obligation. They'll tell you honestly if you have a problem or not. You can trust TerraTech to repair your home. You know I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Online, it's TerraTechInc.com or call them 791-8888. That's 791-8888 or online at TerraTechInc.com.
There's never an HVAC expert around when you need one. Enter the field in less than 6 months with the Midlands Tech entry-level HVAC Tech program. Evening classes just twice a week for a seriously in-demand field in famously hot Columbia. Practical, hands-on labs with instructors who work in the industry. Focus on diagnosing and troubleshooting HVAC issues. Scholarships are available. Learn more at midlandstech.edu or call 732-0432. Tell them you heard it on The Point and get 10% off the cost of the program.
Poll question of the week. Zeb Nolan's 2-0 as Gamecock starting quarterback. Who else is 2-0 around here as a starting quarterback? There's a handful.
Call.
He's one. Quarterback at PC would be one. Quarterback at North Greenville. If Luke Doty is 100% and cleared to play, who should start against Georgia? 323 votes in today. 84.8% say Luke Doty should be the starting quarterback if he is healthy.
I would agree, Phil, and this is not a knock on Zeb Nolan. I think he's done a great job giving them an opportunity to win, but you pointed it out going into break. Luke Doty gives them that extra opportunity to run out of the pocket when the offensive line breaks down, and a statue against Georgia's front seven is not a good look. Doty gives them, if they are going to be competitive on Saturday, it's got to be with Luke Doty at quarterback.
A couple of other quick things. Charleston Southern receiver Garris Schwarting, who was outstanding Saturday against Citadel, Big South Football Offensive Player of the Week, and the National FCS Offensive Player of the Week. How about that? Arkansas gets hit with $100,000 for storming the field after their win. Come on, Arkansas. Act like you've been there before.
Stay off the field. You buy a ticket to sit in the stands. And by the way, this is the second straight week, Phil, that our state has had the FCS Offensive Player of the Week.
Yes.
BC's quarterback, Ren Heffley, got it 2 weeks ago after his 10-touchdown pass performance.
Sunbelt Offensive Player of the Week is Reese White of Coastal. Defensive Player of the Week is Josiah Stewart of Coastal. USC's Parker White's the co-special team player of the week. And in the ACC, let's see, there was a Clemson honoree. Will Shipley.
Will Taylor or
no,
Will Shipley? Okay.
Will Shipley was the offensive freshman of the week. And at Furman, Timmy Bleakroad, place kicker, is the Southern Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. All right.
Phil, what about the Florida State honorees? You skipped over them. I thought you might mention them.
They are the dumpster fire honorees of the week. All right, let's go to First and 10 here on Sports Talk. We welcome in the coach, Zach Willis, for a little X's and O's talk. I enjoy Xing and O'ing here on Sports Talk. Good evening, Coach. How are you?
Doing great, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're wonderful.
Tremendous.
Thank you for joining us. Great to have you with us. So let's begin with the Gamecocks. They had the tougher opponent, and they toughed it out against East Carolina. The thing that impressed me was how they stuck with the game plan when they were down 14-0. A lot of times you see an offensive play caller just kind of shuck everything and start throwing the ball. They didn't do that. They stuck with their game plan, got a defensive break, ran the ball in the second half, felt like they could wear down East Carolina, and found a way to win.
I couldn't have said it any better, Phil. As a coach, and that's the perspective, that's my role on the show. I love those kind of wins, especially, the one thing I was blessed to do was take 3 programs from nothing into championship form as a head coach. And that win for Shane Beamer is a major building block. You have different kind of points in the rebuilding process of a program. And by no means is it a road win against a tough SEC opponent. But at this point, it was a very good opponent. They're evenly matched. We can say that for sure. That was a tight ball game. They go into somebody else's house. Dowdy-Ficklen is a tough place to win a ball game. Just ask North Carolina State, North Carolina. There are a lot of folks who've gone up there and gotten beat. I thought it was an excellent performance by the Gamecocks from a morale standpoint, a confidence standpoint, and we saw that they have some mental toughness and strength to them and some poise. They fell behind, and like you said, they never wavered. Their coaches had poise, as did the kids.
I think you're exactly right. What do you do getting ready for Georgia, number 2 in the country? We saw what they did defensively against Clemson. You've got Zeb Nolan, who's giving it all he's got, but he's not mobile at all. And I don't know that their receivers can get much separation. I imagine that Georgia's just going to play 7, 8 in the box and cover those receivers one-on-one. What do you think Georgia will throw at them?
I think, Kirby Smart's the kind of guy. We've seen him throw everything but the kitchen sink at people, and we had to coach against him when he was defensive coordinator at Alabama when I was at Michigan State. And I can tell you that they'll throw so much at you that sometimes, as when South Carolina beat them 2 years ago down in Georgia, Georgia wore themselves out trying to beat South Carolina in the first half of that ball game and ended up losing it. And what South Carolina's got to hope is the same thing happens. They need to follow the same protocol they followed in this ball game. At this point, you're building a program, and the fans need to understand that. You're in a building process with a young head coach who's inexperienced but is doing the right thing so far, in my opinion. And you stick with your game plan no matter what the score is. You have a play selection for every situation, of course. If they get way behind, they'll have to throw it more. But you try to stay with what you know. And your left side of their offensive line wore down East Carolina in particular. McDowell came in, provided a great change of pace. And over there on the bench, you got the SEC's leading rusher from last year off of a horrible team, a really good running back. So South Carolina may be more dangerous than people anticipate, but what a coach wants to see is competitiveness, execution under pressure, and poise and togetherness on the field. Lift each other up, support each other, and block everything else out, and then you'll just have to see how it goes from there.
Clemson, some of the same stuff. Sounds to me like they need some support. They need some togetherness. They need some happiness. And Clemson fans really have short memories, and some are rumbling about Tony Elliott and rumbling about the quarterback and rumbling about the running back. What do you see with their offensive situation? Is there an offensive situation to be concerned about?
I think, number one, that's why you have people like me come on your show. What are they saying about Tony Elliott? I mean, what is there to say about Tony Elliott other than positive things? He's got a young quarterback who's not seeing things clearly right now. He's not seeing the picture. I think Lynn J. Dixon must be in the doghouse a little bit. Dabo's going to play the kid if he's earned the right to play, and that also is behavior-wise. If anybody in football other than Nick Saban and maybe Bill Belichick have got more money in the bank credit-wise, you say, hey, look, I'm going to trust my coaches that got me 2 national championships and have never missed a college football playoff final, not final, but the Final Four. They never missed it, Phil, ever. And you're going to grumble, then you need to stay at home. My opinion, you need to put on your big boy pants and be a man. And I'm leaving ladies out of this. Be a woman if you're doing it too. That's a loser to me. I'm just going to be straight with you. If you're going to fold the tents up around a 10-3 loss and defense played incredible off of a pick six, that was the difference in the ball game. And let me tell you something, in the top 5 game, it's going to come down to mistakes and a rookie quarterback threw a pick six. You don't fold up and quit on people at that point. That's why you're not where the Clemson coaches are yourself, is because you're a quitter and you're a panicker and a loser, and you need to grow up.
Wait a minute. You're a panicker, you're a loser, and you need to grow up. Playing a quitter. I forgot the quitting part.
Formula there's a formula. It's all chemistry, Phil. It's QPL equals loser. Quitter, panicker, and loser. Don't ever. I went to Furman. It's sad I've got my grammar's that bad. Yeah. But it's just, to me, I never understood. Look at their track record. And you're going to panic over a 10-3 loss in a neutral field against a more experienced team. That's ridiculous.
Zach Willis with us for a few more moments. 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk. And, Coach, it's easy to look at the Gamecocks in Georgia and Clemson, Georgia Tech, and even Coastal going up to Buffalo. But for fans who don't know, you've been a part of this rivalry. One of, I think, the better games around the state this weekend is your former school in Newberry taking on Lenore Ryan for the Bishop's Trophy. Can you give us a sense as to what that rivalry is like and how big a game this is for both teams opening up South Atlantic Conference play?
Well, we made it not a rivalry when I was there because we beat the brakes off of them the last 4. I can't remember.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I love coaches with long memories about the good things that they did.
I got long memories about my mistakes too, trust me, but we won't discuss those unless you really, really want to. But I mean, honestly, it's a great game. The thing I remember about it is you guys were talking about Arkansas rushing the field. Is Tyler Zimmerman blocking a field goal? Yeah, he could do that too. He could do everything. And gosh almighty, our little field goal kicker, his name escapes me right now. I'm sorry, Justin Freeman, Ben Freeman of Pillion's son, kicking the winning field goal and us snapping a 18-game conference losing streak to win the Bishop's Trophy in a huge upset. And it just took off from there. We set a lot of records at that place. And the Wolves now, we were the Indians then, but maybe the Wolves will bring that trophy home again for Coach Todd Knight. I believe they will.
Well, you know what? They got handled by North Greenville. Coach Farrington.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. North Greenville went to Newberry and beat them pretty soundly. Coach Farrington's got a nice club up there in the mountains of South Carolina.
He's a good football coach, and I'll give them guys. I don't know what's going on at Newberry, but Jeff's an excellent coach, not a good coach. He's a great coach, and so is Todd. But that may be the first time I've ever heard North Greenville beating Newberry. I think we were like 8-0 or something, and that goes back before I played them. We never lost to them or Charleston Southern. They both kicked us off of their schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to go to like Texas and play.
Well, Choso beat the Citadel this past weekend at Johnson Hagan.
Well, now they're times have changed. And you got to say Charleston Southern probably, if you look over the long haul, has had as big of improvement. Jamie Chadwell was a part of that. Jay was a tremendous coach. He brought Jamie in, and now look at Jamie at Coastal. If it's okay, I'd like to say a few things about the Chants, man. I thought they looked magnificent in their game. The offensive execution, that quarterback, Bill, you made the call a year or two ago that he was special, and man, that kid can really play too. A lot of big-time programs would love to have some of their players, and I think Coastal's really going to shock some people a few years down the road for sure, if not sooner.
They'd like you to call them the Shants, by the way. If you call them the Shants, you're going to get a nasty email from Matt Hogue. So the Shants.
I'm going to say Shant, because I'm from South Carolina, and that's how we say it. So
all right,
all
Coach.
The Yankees here in Myrtle Beach, that's for you.
Thank you, my man. Great talking to you. See how things go this week. Break it down for us next week. South Carolina, Georgia, Clemson, Georgia Tech. We'll get it from you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
As always.
Thanks, Coach.
Zach Willis, 1st and 10. 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk. After the break, give you recruiting. Go around the horn. Monday night with Mick. Mick's a happy guy. The Panthers are undefeated and look good doing it for the most part. I mean, Sam Darnold did his thing for the Panthers. Well. You cannot have any complaints about that performance. McCaffrey did his thing, and they got the ball to him the requisite number of times, which is important in that offense. All that's coming up after the break.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. People often ask me, when should I start saving for college? And I always tell them, start today. September is College Savings Month, a great time to start saving for your child's education. Future Scholar makes it easy to open and manage your account online, and the plan offers options and benefits you won't find with a regular savings or investment account. So make this the month you go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
All right, time for the recruiting report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. Make sure you get over to Seawells for lunch this week. Enjoy yourself a delicious lunch, 11 to 2, at Seawells on Rosewood Drive across from the State Fairgrounds. It is an absolutely delicious daily luncheon buffet. And if you need the best in the catering business, none other than Seawells, that's the number to call, 803-771-7385. They'll come to you or host your event at their beautiful facility on Rosewood Drive. Their website, for more information, SeawellsCateringSC.com. That's SeawellsCateringSC.com. By the way, I need to correct one thing. Earlier in the show when I was doing the spot for the lottery, my computer froze up. So I couldn't read, started reading it. Then I had to guess, and I guessed wrong. So did you know that since 2002, more than $572 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund Palmetto Fellow scholarships? Not to fix the school buses. I was just guessing.
Like the school buses, though.
Well, yeah,
good.
they spent a lot of money on the school buses, too. Anyway, fun.
I can't wait for the phone call I'm going to have with the South Carolina Education Lottery tomorrow. I can't wait.
Anyway, funds for the Palmetto Fellow scholarships for the state's college-bound students. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seeducationlottery.com/education wins, and playing for fun is a win for education. So, catch you up on some things. Oscar Delp, I talked to him yesterday, went to Clemson Saturday for the SC State game, the tight end from Cumming, Georgia. First visit to Death Valley for a game in many years. Be his last one before he makes his decision sometime this fall. Clemson, Georgia, USC, Michigan, the Final Four. He plans to see at least the 3 Southern schools play in their stadiums this fall. He checked off that box for Clemson Saturday. So he had a great time on the field, hanging out with the coaches and players, locker room. Met with Dabo Swinney in his office, enjoyed the Tiger Walk. So it was the first time there since he was little going to a game. He said they treated him great, met with Tony Elliott, and they've told him they're all in on him. That's who they want. He appreciated that. So it's just the first fall visit for him at a school. Of course, he was at the Clemson, Georgia game, so he really can't judge anything against anybody else. He will be at Georgia Saturday, then an off week from recruiting, and then at South Carolina October 2nd. He might get up to Michigan for a game if that can be worked out. There is no timetable now for a decision. We mentioned Friday night that receiver Antonio Williams named a top 6: USC, Ole Miss, Georgia, Florida State, Notre Dame, and Auburn. Later in the evening, story came out on Rivals that he has also scheduled an official visit to Auburn for the Alabama game. That came from Keith Niebauer from 24/7 Sports. I'm sorry, I said Rivals. I meant 24/7 Sports. So he's got USC on the 24th of this month, Ole Miss October 22nd, and now Auburn that last weekend. Mike Bobo doing a lot of recruiting there. Clemson offered a top uncommitted defensive lineman in the 22 class, defensive tackle Curtis Perry, 6'2", 265 of Montgomery, 4-star, number 10 nationally, and he's got a lot of big-time offers. USC's offered him Ohio State, Alabama, Auburn, Michigan, Texas, and others. Running back Kanye Udoh, 6 feet 200 of Richland, New Jersey, was at Clemson Saturday. They haven't offered yet. He does have BC, Maryland, and Connecticut. 2023 quarterback Carson Black of Nation Ford, offered by Appalachian State. Offensive tackle Tayshawn Brooks of Dutch Fork and Independence Junior College in Kansas, offered by Maryland. 2023 defensive back Trayvon West of Wren plans to be at Clemson Saturday. Clemson quarterback commit Cade Klubnik, 344 yards and 6 touchdowns Friday. USC commit Braden Davis, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns Friday. Basketball, 2023 6'6" G.G. Jackson of Ridgeview, offered by Alabama. 2024 6'5" Cam Scott of Lexington, offered by Virginia Tech. There you go with recruiting. Before Mick Mixon, let's go around the horn. Quick baseball update from Chris.
Yeah, I got some great pitching to discuss, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Buddy Bridges in Lawrence at 864-923-2174. And hopefully, as it was today was the due day, the brand new Papa Alex Satterfield in Columbia at 803-749-9171. First up for Smitty, Max Scherzer had been, of course, anticipating his 3,000th career strikeouts. He got it and then some, as he nearly threw a perfect game over the weekend. Scherzer got his milestone and took a perfect game into the 8th inning as the Dodgers beat the San Diego Padres 8-0 to complete a 3-game sweep. He said, in the 5th or 6th, I realized I had something going on there. Once I was able to get through the 6th, I was like, I got a chance to do this. He actually retired the first 22 batters he faced before giving up a double to right field with 1 out in the 8th inning. Meantime, speaking of extremely good pitching, Corbin Burns and also the Milwaukee Brewers relievers threw a combined no-hitter on Saturday night in Cleveland, marking just the 2nd no-hitter in franchise history and the 9th this season across Major League Baseball. And that's a quick check of Around the Horn, brought to you by our good friends at Farm Bureau Insurance.
Darnold fakes to McCaffrey, moves up in the pocket, throws long in middle. Anderson's there, caught 10, 5, touchdown! Robbie Anderson. In a New York minute, a couple of former Jets get together.
All right, great call there by Mick Mixon and the crew. Panthers beat the Jets. Congratulations. Of course, I wonder, do y'all really count that as an NFL win? It is the Jets.
Oh, Corn, come on. We will take it. Claiming it.
Congratulations.
And see, I wasn't in a good mood until you just threw that out there, and now this makes me want to ask you what you thought of Jameis Winston.
Hey, man, I thought
outstanding.
I tried. We tried to help you guys out. We let everybody down. We let y'all down. We let Packer Nation. Did you see 35,000 Packer fans in Jacksonville? How cool is that?
Well, they got to see what they get to see one field goal. That would be 1 point for every 11,500 fans.
All right, let's move on to the Panthers. Congratulations, a great win. You're 1-0. You lead your division. But really, you had to like a good bit about what you saw from the team.
I thought the story of the game, Corn, was the defense. Just effervescently cohesive, energetic. It's been a long time since I've seen something, whether it was a Garth Brooks concert or something that just moved me to the point of not being able to stop thinking about it. And just the way that defense played, 6 sacks, 8 different defenders hit Zach Wilson. The Sam Darnold piece is great. I think the Panthers still need to figure out kicker, and we got maybe some issues along the offensive line. So it wasn't perfect, but a lot of good things to see in that opening game.
30 touches by McCaffrey. That's what they want, right? About 30 a game?
I'd say, yeah, more or less. That number may be a little high, but he just changes the game every time he touches the ball, and he's good without the ball. He threw a key block. The key block thrown on the Darnold touchdown pass to Anderson was thrown by McCaffrey.
Mick, back to the place kicking for a moment. Ryan Santoso, you guys were actually talking about it when the Panthers had an opportunity to kick a 50-yard field goal. They didn't run him out there, missed an extra point. How unsettled in your mind, even with Joseph Charlton struggling a little bit punting yesterday, how unsettled is the special teams right now for Carolina?
I think kicker is wildly unsettled because there's some drama attached to this. intrigue, I guess I should say, not drama. But if if Santoso plays another game, then we owe the Giants a 7th round draft pick. If he does not, then we do not. So it'll be interesting to see how the Panthers play it. It would seem to me as though in the National Football League, if you advance the ball to the plus 35-yard line, you got to be able to make a 50-yard field goal.
Mm-hmm. What you got coming up on the Panthers show tonight?
Good show, Corn. Dante Jackson, the extended interview with Dante Jackson, been named the team captain, played well yesterday. Scott Fitterer will join us, and we'll have Coach Matt Rule on live at the top.
You got it, my man. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure, man. Look forward to it.
You too.
Thanks,
All right,
Nick.
that'll do it. That'll do it, Nick Mixon. That'll do it for us. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Smitty. Talking Tuesday tomorrow. We'll have it covered for you here. We'll see you then.
Someone will be right with you. The Point.
WQXL